The EU is not a continent. Europe is the continent. The EU is also not a country, but rather it's made up of a bunch of countries. The EU is not the same as the Schengen area.
It's not?
No, it's not. And the EU is also not the same as the Eurozone.
Huh? Then what is it?
Hey everyone, I'm Donna and you're watching Wanted Adventure Living Abroad. EU stands for European Union, or Europäische Union if you're speaking German, and it's made up of 28 European countries, which means America, I'm sorry, but you're not invited. It was formed after World War II initially as just an economic union. The thought process was countries who trade together make peace together, meaning that hopefully there wouldn't be yet another world war 2 decades later. It started out as 6 countries: Germany, France, Italy, Luxembourg, the Netherlands, and Belgium, who was just invited for their waffles and chocolate, but shh, don't tell them that. But by 1973, Denmark, Ireland, and the UK had also joined. Yes, that's right, the UK is part of the EU, even though they don't use the euro. I know, it's all a little bit confusing, but we'll go slowly. When the Union first formed, however, the EU wasn't actually called the EU, but rather the EEC, European Economic Community. But in 1992, the member countries decided to take their relationship to the next level and signed a treaty to become a union. The European Union. Congratulations! This is also when they began tossing around the idea of EU citizenship and made plans for a common currency, which we know today as the euro. But as I said before, the EU is not the same thing as the Eurozone. Not all of the countries in the EU use the euro. For example, the UK, as I mentioned, also the Czech Republic, Sweden, Hungary, these are all countries in the EU, but they have retained their own currencies, so they are not in the so-called Eurozone. And how about that EU citizenship? What is that? And perhaps more importantly, how can you get it? EU citizenship gives people who have citizenship in one of the member countries of the EU the right to live and work and vote in any of the other EU countries. So you get it by getting citizenship in one of those countries. Sorry, but it's not a fast pass for people who want to move to Europe and then keep their options open. As is clear from the EU citizenship, what started as just that economic partnership has grown and blossomed into a political union as well. Together, the member countries of the EU not only set economic policies, but also policies regarding the welfare of the environment, food safety, preventing fraud, and many, many more. These policies are voted on by the member states, but it could happen that a country who was against the policy that got voted in might simply decide not to abide by the rules. So, what happens then? Well, the EU could take that country to court, to the European Court of Justice to be specific. Yes, the EU has a court of justice. It's also got a European Parliament, a central bank, and a court of auditors. All of this, along with the fact that the countries making up the EU are often called member states, as you might have noticed, makes the EU sound an awful lot like a country. But believe me, it is not. France, Germany, Spain, and all the rest are still standalone countries, not states like Kansas or Vermont. However, a United States of Europe is what some people think is just what the doctor ordered for Europe. As you might have heard, there's been this big old problem with Greece spending a tad too much money and causing a bit of a jam for its fellow EU member states. And it has been suggested that an even deeper union could stop economic crises like this from happening in the future. So my question for you is, what do you think of having one European country with a bunch of states, a so-called United States of Europe, or the Federal Republic of Europe, or however you'd like to call it? And what interesting information do you know about the EU? Please let me know in the comments below. Thanks so much for watching. I will put more information and links down in the description box below so you can check those out if you're interested. Please don't forget to subscribe and hit that like button. And for more fun stuff, you can check me out over here on my Twitter and my Facebook page. Until next time, auf Wiedersehen! United States of Europe or Federal Republic. EU stands for European...
Action.
It's too hot. It's too hot. Take it.
Petting money and looking excited.
Got any money?